first thing you have to do in becoming a guardian ad litem is have the heart and the drive and the passion to be there for these kids who really need someone to step in and to be there for them in their time of need. You fill out an application and then you go through an interview process. And from there, you do a 30-hour training, and then you're appointed by the court to become an advocate.
And right after I get a case, the first thing I always do is get in touch with their caseworker from ChildNet, and then I get in touch with their caregiver. And I explain to my kids that I'm there as a friend.
My guardian ad litem, the only person that was on my side the entire time.
How much time do you think you spent with your guardian on a monthly basis?
It was more of a thing where I would just call her occasionally and she'd call me to see how I'm doing.
Anywhere from an hour a month to 10 or more hours a month, depending on the posture of the case. What is very unique about the Guardian ad litem program is that we have that one-on-one relationship.
She would take me to the mall, or like we'd go out to eat or something.
The guardian ad litem comes in and says, Your Honor, as an independent third party, this is what I think the child needs.
They go to the court for you and they speak for you.
They really respect our opinion.
To be honest, if it wasn't for my guardian ad litem, I'd probably still be at the shelter. Guardian ad litem is the good people.
Hello, I'm Cindy Arenberg Seltzer, President and CEO of the Children's Services Council of Broward County. Welcome to another edition of Future First, Focus on Broward's Children. Over the past few years, more than 3,500 abused, neglected, and abandoned children in Broward County have found themselves in the care of the state, having been taken from all that is familiar to them, their homes, their families, and sometimes even their communities. The Guardian ad litem program uses a team approach to advocate for children involved in court proceedings. Lay volunteers, child advocate coordinators, and attorneys, volunteer guardians ad litem, are empowered by the courts to advocate for the best interests of these children and to stay with them until they are placed in loving, permanent, and safe homes. For many children in the system, a guardian ad litem is the only constant adult presence in their lives. To talk today about the importance and impact of guardians ad litem, I'm joined by Amy Goldin, the chair of Voices for Children and a volunteer guardian ad litem, Hilary Creary, circuit director of the Guardian ad litem program in Broward County, Deborah McCloskey-Moss, a volunteer guardian ad litem and a former dependency general magistrate, and finally Aaron Dames, a young man who at one point was represented by a guardian ad litem and who is now an administrative intern with Handy. Welcome to all of you. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
Hilary, I want to start with you as the circuit director for the Guardian ad litem program. Explain a little bit more about what the Guardian ad litem program is and what you do.
Well, the Guardian ad litem program is a partnership made up of lay volunteers and paid staff, and collectively we are court-appointed advocates for children. So when a child is alleged to be abused, abandoned, or neglected, the court will appoint the guardian ad litem to advocate for that child's best interest until the child can either safely be returned home or be added to a forever family, a new family. We are, as I said, made up of professionals, case managers, lawyers, and we work with our volunteers as a advocacy team to advocate for the children that we're appointed to represent.
Does every child who's in the dependency system get a guardian ad litem?
The statute actually requires it. Chapter 39, which is sort of our guide, Chapter 39 requires that every child that is a part of the dependency system shall have a guardian ad litem. The challenge, of course, is that every child in the system should have a guardian ad litem. We don't have the resources to satisfy that requirement. So we're always actively looking for volunteers. We have currently in Broward County appointed to the Guardian program 2,046 children, and we have working, actually involved volunteers, 684 volunteers who are working with those children. So as you can see, if you do the math, we're desperately in need of additional voices for these children.
You know, one of the things that I hear a lot when I'm talking to people is, I'm afraid to be a guardian. What kind of special qualities do you need to have? Who can be a guardian? Who can be a guardian? Tell me, as one. Go ahead.
I have been a guardian for, I think, 6 years now, and 18 years old. You need to be 18 years old. You go through 30 hours of training, and you need to have a passion for children and helping children. And it's really very doable. People are afraid. If you care about a child and care about making a difference, you go through the classes, you learn. The staff is wonderful. I am an attorney, but I was not a courtroom attorney. And so I was not familiar with going into the courtroom, and the attorneys are always with you from the program. So there's always somebody sitting at the table next to you to help you out. You're never alone. Your supervisor assists you with your reports, answering questions. I would call my supervisor whenever I had a question as to how to handle a particular part of a case. But it's the most rewarding, wonderful feeling to go and be with your child and spend time with the child and get to know the child. And if you care about someone else, and you can talk to the child and play games and have discussions, and depending upon the age, it depends, your interaction obviously depends upon the age of the child, and you learn what's important to that child and what that child needs. And you talk to all the people who are important to that child, their teachers and guidance counselors and doctors if necessary, and most importantly the child and the caregiver, and you figure out what the child, what might be lacking, what should continue, what should discontinue. You go to the court, and I have found that the judges defer so tremendously to the guardians ad litem, often more than anyone else sitting in the courtroom. Because you have that child and probably very few others. So you're really focused on the well-being of that child, and they really want to hear the judges really want to hear what you have to say. And I liked what Judge Scherzer, if I just might add, at our recent luncheon, appreciation breakfast said. She said, I am uncomfortable when there is not a guardian ad litem on the case, because that's how much she relies on the word of the guardian ad litem and the opinions of the guardian ad litem.
Now, Debbie, you have an interesting position here, because you are now a guardian ad litem.
Right.
And you were a general magistrate that heard dependency cases.
Yes.
So what did you look for as a general magistrate from your guardians?
As a general, well, I have to tell you, to be behind the podium and to be on the street as a guardian ad litem are two very incredibly different things. I'm a lawyer, and I'd been a prosecutor for many, many years. I did a lot of child abuse, criminally, et cetera, et cetera. I loved being a general magistrate. It was my total passion, independency. I also got to do substance abuse criminal as a general magistrate and mental health as a general magistrate. I kept my own stats because I loved this so much, and I just found trends. And I found that from behind the podium, that substance abuse, especially in mental health, led to probably 80% of the deaths, and led to probably 80% of even children getting involved in the system. And at that time, there was sort of a lack of knowledge about that. And what I saw from the bench is that there has been a continuing knowledge gain about that type of criteria coming into abused children. And I'm very excited right now. I know nothing has passed, but it appears as if finally Florida is getting it. And hopefully there's going to be more money into substance abuse, mental health abuse. How I became a guardian was we moved away to Ecuador for 4 years, and I was basically a Peace Corps myself and had schools in a field for Indian children. We are now back. And I actually saw it in the paper. And I loved the guardians. I always gave them complete top priority in my courtroom, as the old timers would tell you, for several reasons. There was no motive. There was no, this is my job, so I have to keep numbers and stats, because of course you have to in a job. You have to. There was nothing but kind-hearted, wonderful people, many of whom worked, many of whom had their own children, many of whom did not have the time to do it, but did it for the reasons of, I just love children and I want to help. They make a huge difference. And they also, I found, got to know the child differently and in a more confidential way than anybody else, because they weren't afraid to talk to the guardian as opposed to people as the systemic part of the system. So when I got back, I always loved them. I wanted to get back involved in something having to do with children. and there was in the paper, there was a big spread for their new program, I Care, which is like, I would say, a micro guardian.
That's correct.
And is that the right word?
Micro-volunteerism, that's what we call it.
Micro-volunteerism program. And my husband saw it in the paper, and he went, holy bingo, Debbie, this is you for right now. And I got in touch with Derek Peak, who was in charge of the training and all. And I got to tell you something. From seeing behind the bench to everything you hear, which is testimony, formal, hearsay, but still excellent testimony to do the best for the children, to be on the street, to be honest with you, and see these kids face to face, talk to the foster parents face to face, talk to the shelter face to face, get to know these people as to what really goes on in the streets. It is the most fascinating, heart-filling thing a person can do. And I'm just urging, because I'm doing it, and I'm so happy doing it. They can't give me enough cases. You can ask Derek, right? They can't. Sure. I called them. Now, come on. It is just, I can only speak to the new program, but it is a very fascinating program. If you're a professional, if you have long hours and a job, if you're a mother, your kids go to school, whatnot. If you're going to school, let's say college level, a myriad of opportunities. If you love kids, and if you want to help their lives be better, you can do 1 hour a week. You can get involved. They have so much stuff for you to do. You can do 5 hours a month. You control what you can do, but you walk away from there and you feel like your month is made, because my gosh, I hardly had any time. And I touched somebody, and I'm telling you, the kids and the families love it too, and they're always saying, oh, are you gonna be my guardian at all? No, but it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. The people appreciate it so much too, that right at the outset of the shelter and the dependency beginning, that somebody from the Guardians program comes to see them and says, I wanna talk to your children too. You know, bye. But, you know, I wanna talk to you and your children too. They are fascinated and they absolutely love it. And it makes them know that the system cares.
Well, that's a great segue into someone who felt the system care, I hope.
Yes.
Aaron, tell us about your experience